lie, like, I appreciate all my supporters. I appreciate the ones that didn't believe in me. I appreciate the ones that talk about me. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I'm changing and I'm growing, and it ain't for you to understand. Shit, half the time I don't understand, but I'm doing what I got to do because it feel good. You know, it feel good to change. It feel good to have that, you know, discipline, or be strong enough to be disciplined. It feel good to be wise enough to know that if I continue to keep repeating these habits, it ain't really gonna get me nowhere. I'm gonna continue staying stagnant. I don't want to stay stagnant. I want to grow. Because there's so much more that I need to know. You feel what I'm saying? Man, I need to be able to, you know, guide my son when he get to a certain age, or, you know, be able to, you know, just lead him in the right direction. You know, lead my princess in the right direction. Make sure as a teammate, as a man, you feel what I'm saying, as a husband, making sure I'm pushing my wife in the right direction. I'm motivating her, and I'm being, you know, what she needs and what they need as a unit, man. It's like, when you growing, man, you just think about all these things, man. You don't think about Rat 9. I remember, like, just when I was in that season of just like thinking of Rat 9, bro, it's like, it was fun. You feel what I'm saying? I enjoyed the shit. I ain't gonna lie, but it's like,
Gainesville police officers say on December 27th, officers came to the area of Southwest Archer Road and I-75 after receiving reports of an injured person. Detectives say their initial investigation determined Davis did jump out of a moving vehicle while in traffic, saying he sustained significant injuries to his head. After a few days at the hospital, he died. Family members say they don't believe he would jump out of a car and say it doesn't make sense why his girlfriend, who was supposedly driving, would leave him on the side of the road. Davis's father says to him, justice is having the full story.
He didn't deserve this, you know. All I really want, you know, is answers to what belongs to me, you know. You know, I'm not asking for, you know, no GoFundMes, no money, no nothing. I just want candles, you know, and prayers and answers, you know. And as a father, what more can you ask?
Family members and friends have been posting on social media and even calling us here at TV20 saying they still need answers. Officers say the investigation is still ongoing.
This is my theory, y'all. I'm just telling you about me. I'm not finna try to build nobody like that. I personally finna get the fuck from around me, because if I can't trust you to just tell me where you at, or, you know, because being personally, I'm not even finna ask you. You know, if we have a casual conversation and I hear, you know, noise in the background, I mean, be like, oh, where you at, baby? You straight, you good, whatever, however. And they just continuously lie, or just lie for no reason. That's a red flag right there. You can't even keep a G with me, so how I'm gonna trust you to even try to build with you? I'm not finna waste my time. That's just me personally.
One day, God said, when I call on him, he'll answer. When I call on him, he'll come to my rescue. I trust God, and we get justice for Jerome. And we get justice for Jerome. Let us stand together. We won't take down. We are his voice. He's been silent.
Something about this case never sat right. And just when people thought the story was going quiet, new statements hit social media and reopened every wound. If you've been following Tyrone Davis Jr.'s case from the beginning, you already know this isn't just about what happened that night. It's about what doesn't add up after. Before we go any further, if you care about truth, accountability, and justice for Tyrone and his family, make sure you like this video, comment your thoughts, share it so more people see it, subscribe to Mystoracrimes, and hit that bell icon, because these stories only stay alive when people refuse to look away. This is a follow-up because since the last video, the family has not gone silent, and neither has social media. Tyrone Davis Jr., known to many as Stepdaddy R.O., was described by those closest to him as loving, protective, and deeply committed to his relationship and family. But after his tragic death, the explanations given publicly left his loved ones with more questions than comfort. Police stated the injuries were consistent with him exiting a moving vehicle, yet the family has repeatedly said that version doesn't align with what they saw or what they were told at the hospital. Now here's where things take a turn. Recently, Tyrone's girlfriend posted a lengthy message on social media, describing the situation as heartbreaking, confusing, and overwhelming. In that post, she stated she would never harm Tyrone, emphasized that their love was real, and said she had already provided her account to both sides of his family. She also claimed there is an active investigation and said she would refrain from further public statements out of respect for the process. At first glance, it sounds like a grieving partner asking for space. But Almost immediately, members of Tyrone's family pushed back publicly. His aunt, Natasha Davis, took to Facebook and directly questioned the girlfriend's statements, calling them out line by line. She raised concerns about how confidently the girlfriend described an accident, despite saying she wasn't present when Tyrone was injured. Natasha questioned why Tyrone was allegedly let out of the car instead of being taken straight to a hospital, why accounts given to the family conflicted, and why someone recovering from surgery was suddenly driving around afterward. The family says these aren't attacks. They're unanswered questions, and they've made it clear they believe someone knows more than they're saying. Now here's where things start to feel uncomfortable, because after days of silence, the girlfriend finally spoke up, not in a press conference, not through police, but through a Facebook post, and that alone raised eyebrows. The post read calm, almost too calm, like someone carefully choosing words instead of speaking from shock or grief. She talked about loving Tyrone, about being misunderstood, about people running with lies, and about how the internet had already decided her role before facts came out. But the family wasn't buying it. Within hours, screenshots started circulating, and then another voice entered the picture. Natasha publicly responded on social media, claiming that parts of the girlfriend's statement looked AI-generated. Her exact argument was that the wording didn't sound human, didn't sound emotional, and didn't match how someone close to tragedy would naturally speak. She hinted that the response felt rehearsed, processed, and detached. That one comment changed everything. Because now the conversation wasn't just about what happened to Tyrone Davis Jr., it became about authenticity. Who's telling the truth, and who's managing a narrative. At the same time, Tyrone's family began reacting more openly. Relatives shared emotional videos and posts, openly blaming people close to him. They spoke about inconsistencies, unanswered calls, unexplained timelines, and behavior that didn't sit right from the very beginning. One family member said they felt like they were watching people protect themselves instead of seeking justice for Tyrone. And this is where tension really started climbing. Online, people split into sides. Some said the girlfriend was being unfairly targeted. Others said her silence, followed by a polished Facebook statement, made things worse. Comment sections exploded. This story doesn't add up. Why Facebook? Why now? Who helped her write that? And then the harshest comments of all, people saying they're just waiting for someone to be arrested. What's chilling is that law enforcement stayed quiet through all of this. No confirmations, no denials, just ongoing investigation. And when police don't talk, the internet fills the silence with theories. Every new post, every deleted comment, every family reaction became part of the evidence in the court of public opinion. Screenshots were saved. Timelines were reconstructed by strangers. And the case stopped being just about a death and started becoming a psychological puzzle about guilt, fear, loyalty, and image control. Because here's the real question people are asking now, not out loud, but deep down. If everyone is innocent, why does everything feel so carefully managed? And then something else surfaced that pushed this case into an entirely different direction. People started revisiting old posts, old comments, old interactions between Tyrone and those closest to him. Not just recent ones, but weeks and even months back. Patterns began to form. Arguments hinted at, but never explained. Emotional shifts people ignored at the time because nothing bad had happened yet. Until it did. One post in particular caught attention. A message Tyrone allegedly sent shortly before everything went silent. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't goodbye. But it was unsettling in hindsight. The kind of message that sounds normal until you know what comes next. That's when viewers started asking if warning signs were missed, or worse, ignored. Meanwhile, the girlfriend's social media activity became even more closely watched. Likes disappearing, comments limited, posts reshared, then removed. Every move felt calculated, whether it was or not. And when people pointed that out, supporters rushed to defend her, saying grief looks different for everyone. That may be true, but critics fired back with one question. If this was pure grief, why does everything feel curated? Then came what many are calling the first real breakthrough. Sources close to the family claim investigators are now focusing heavily on digital evidence. Phone records, message timestamps, location data. And suddenly, timelines that once seemed solid started to bend. Small gaps appeared. Minutes that couldn't be accounted for. Calls that didn't go through. Messages that were read but never answered. The family noticed it too. In one emotional reaction, a relative said they're no longer asking for sympathy. They're asking for pressure. Pressure to keep this case visible. Pressure so it doesn't quietly disappear. Pressure so whoever knows something feels forced to speak.
He'll answer. When I call on him, he'll come to my rescue. I trust God. And we get justice for Jerome. And we get justice for Jerome.
And that brings us back to that Facebook statement. Because now people aren't just questioning how it was written, but why it was written at that exact moment. Was it fear? Legal advice? Or was it an attempt to get ahead of something about to come out? Here's what makes this case so disturbing. No matter where you stand, nothing about it feels accidental. The silence, the timing, the wording, the reactions. It all feels like a chessboard where not everyone knows the rules, but someone is making very deliberate moves. So I want to ask you this. When someone speaks late instead of early, does that mean they were scared or strategic? When a statement sounds too polished, does that point to innocence trying to survive public pressure or guilt trying to stay ahead of the truth? And when a family refuses to stay quiet, are they chasing justice or do they already know something we don't? If you want to hear directly from a family, see their reactions, and hear who they believe is responsible, like this video. Comment your thoughts, share it so this story doesn't fade, subscribe to Mystoracrimes, and turn on the bell icon so you don't miss what comes next.